All right, what's up guys? Just jumping in here real quick at the beginning of the video. If you're new here and like Tri-5 content, give us a subscribe and comment on videos. Let me know what you think. We're gonna get into doing the main hoop on the roll cage, and we'll probably do a series of videos. Well, not probably. I am doing a series of videos of my dad and I installing this cage. So without further ado, we'll get into the video. All right, what is up guys? Welcome back to another episode. So we're getting back on the 55 and we're gonna start off with the roll cage. So we're finally gonna get this main hoop kind of set back in here and measure it out exactly where we want it. And I think what we're gonna do, I think in the previous video, showed you guys the outriggers we got, and we're actually gonna drill holes through the floor down here at the B-pillar. We'll go over this more when I actually am in the process of doing it, but just giving you a quick overview. And we'll get that main hoop fit and cut to length if we have to trim it, and hopefully get the area marked on the frame for our outriggers. But to start off, here is the company we used for the cage. Got one of their stickers up here on my cabinet. So if you guys want to look them up, it's S&W. And that's who we got everything from. And I think I mentioned there's a place semi-local to us in Frankfort, Indiana. And it's where we got our outrigger metal from. They even ship, which is pretty cool. And that's these guys here. So if you're in the area and want something for a fairly good price, those are your guys. But the cage also comes with 4 pieces of 1/8 inch plate as well. So we were pretty stoked on that. So it's pretty much a full ready to go kit, although we might get some more plates depending on how we do our back bars. We're not 100% yet, so we'll address that more when we get there. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this video is gonna be more in depth on how to get our main hoop where we want it down through the floor, and get the outriggers trimmed and where we want those. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, got the Milwaukee put in here. So I think what I'm gonna do first, before Dad gets over here, is go ahead and get the shop vac in here, sweep all this dust out. That way we got a clean area to work in. We're not wallowing around in a bunch of dirt. So go ahead and get the shop vac over here and sweep this stuff up, and then we'll get back with you after that. Okay, just got the back end all swept out, and we went ahead and tossed this thing in here. Just got a ratchet strap lightly holding it in place. We already checked to make sure this thing wasn't twisted, bent, or all that, but it was level and good to go, so we got lucky there. And we basically want this cage to sit in line with the B-pillar. So what we did is we slid this thing in. As you can tell, it's too long because it needs to go through the floor to our outriggers, and then we'll trim if necessary. So we got this thing scooted close to where we want it, because we know obviously when you stand this thing up, it'd sit further back. So we want to scoot this as far back this way as we can and drill our holes so when it slides through, it comes up and runs right in with this B-pillar. So if you're ever doing this by yourself, that's a good little way to kind of hold it in place, a good middle point. That way it holds it evenly. So now we're going to take measurements from the bar to the center point and the bar to the outside and make sure we got it even, and then we can get to drilling our holes. Okay, so what we did is we took a laser and we got it in line with the B-pillar on the inside and shot a laser down here. As you can see, my scribe mark. And when this was forward where it was closer, and we still brought it this way a little bit, so that way when it drops in, it's in line with the B-pillar. And then I made my mark at 4 1/16 and punched me a little pilot there. So I'll drill a pilot hole with a small little 1/8 inch bit, and then we'll get the old hole saw out and get this first one cut, so that way we can go do the same thing on the other side. All right, guys, we just got both holes drilled. So we took our measurements from the pinch weld over, and then from this factory seat bolt and back, and that got us where we were the same on each side and even. So not really too sophisticated. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this thing through there and see if it fits. All right, guys, well, I had a video of us setting this thing down in here for the first time, but my phone decided to not record it, so sorry about that. So fits in there perfect, and we had it up exactly where we're gonna want it. So now basically we need to figure out where we want it and measure that, so to see if we have to trim any off the bottom. So that way when we put our outriggers in, everything's gonna line up. So now it's to the point we can start looking into what we're gonna do with our outriggers. Okay, we just laid up under the car, and we measured from the frame rail out to the rocker to get our distance for our outriggers. And I'm gonna take these into the shop and use our nice hydraulic bandsaw and lop these off at 9 inches. So until I get these cut, we can't make any further progress. So we'll pick up after I get these cut out, and then we'll jump back on getting that main hoop lifted up where we want it, get the frame cleaned up, and get these outriggers where we want them, so we can tack the outriggers in place, then set that main hoop back in there, and make sure we like where everything's at. From getting those outriggers cut, as you saw on the time lapse. So here we go. There's one of them there, and then the leftover pieces. But I got laid down over here, and we'll show you guys how this thing fits. I got my light somewhere. Here we go. So as you can see, we just have the roll cage resting on the ground right now, or the main hoop, as I should say. So I'm gonna hold this just to the front side, but obviously the outrigger is gonna line right up with the main hoop. But as you can see, if we wanted to, it fits right inside that step of the floor, but we'll probably drop it down a little bit so I can get a good clean weld on top of there, as well as gusset it at the bottom. So this thing will definitely be nice and strong. And then that roll cage will come right through there, obviously, where you can see it, and stand right on top of this outrigger and be nice and strong. So once my dad comes back over, we'll be able to set the height that we want for the main hoop itself, and get the outrigger where we want it, and trim. So we'll have to trim a little bit off the bottom of that main hoop. So we'll get that trimmed, and then we'll be able to clean the frame up and tack weld the outriggers on, and then set that main hoop right down on top of the outriggers. Make sure everything fits the way we want, and then we can get some gussets, keep everything tacked in place. That way we can fit and finish the back bars, and obviously I'll explain it more as we go. This is just kind of a rough overview. That way we can be happy with how everything fits, and if something needs to be moved, it's just a tack weld cut away from, tweaking it if we have to. And also, if you guys want another idea of how to set up a roll cage, being that we went through the floor, if you guys go on over to Ironhead's channel, if you don't watch his already, go ahead and go check out Ironhead Garage and check out the way he did it. It was Pretty cool. We actually almost went that route, but just decided to go through the floor and tie into the outriggers themselves, since we don't really need to ever pull the body off the frame because the chassis all been finished underneath. It's got brand new body mounts, brand new floor. Obviously went over that. But yeah, go check out his channel if you want to see another how-to on a roll cage. But as for that, we're going to go ahead and jump on getting the frame cleaned up. I'll show you guys that after I get it done. And when Dad comes over, we'll start mocking this thing up, getting it trimmed, and get the fit and finish done. Get jumped up under here and go ahead and get the sides of the frame cleaned off so we can tack our outriggers in place. So we'll probably pull this main hoop up out of the floor, get it out of the way so we can actually put the outriggers where we want it, kind of where we talked about in the previous clip, and tack these things in place. That way we can then in turn set the main hoop back down in there, figure out where we want it height-wise, make the trim, drop it back down in there, tack it in place, and then start on the harness bar and the down bars. So let's get to it on this and get this thing cleaned up, knocked out. I'm leaving the main hoop in here for just a minute so that way I can look exactly where it comes in line with where this outrigger is going to be, and just kind of clean up this whole area. That way, you know, I get a good gauge with it out. It's kind of harder to, you know, go off the hole. So go ahead and get the 90 degree and clean this up. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the driver's side. And that, like I said, that way when we pull this hoop out, I already know where I need to be. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, and we'll jump over on cleaning up the surfaces on the outriggers and also paint the areas that I won't be able to get to once they're installed. Okay, since we got these things all cut, obviously, and we just cleaned up the frame, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the edges of this thing so I can weld to it, get this coating off, and rough these things up a little bit so I can go ahead and get them in paint. And also, once these things are welded on the chassis, I'll obviously go over it more once we're there. I'll cap these. I'll make a nice little cover cap and weld those in, smooth them out. That way it doesn't get crap in there and rust. So go ahead and show you guys how I'm gonna clean it up. I'm just going to use my little old 90 here. Let's see here. Grab another pad. That one's trash. I'm probably going to use the end that the metal place cut. I mean, I don't know, our saw is just as good. Our hydraulic saw you saw in the time lapse at the shop, so I guess it really don't matter which end I use. So go ahead and clean these up. Okay, so when you're doing this, getting that coating off, this is about the kind of finish you want. I mean, you can weld directly to that, but the fumes aren't good. Not that it's good for you anyway. And this helps get you a better weld. And also, when I weld this, I'm gonna bevel these edges because this is 1/4 inch thick. And as you well know, the chassis on these cars are a lot thinner, probably 1/8 inch. And this being a lot thicker, you want to bevel it so you can get better penetration. And when you weld it as well, after you strike your arc and you know you're getting each piece being that they'll already be tacked in place, it's already holding. But when you start running your bead, you can really focus your heat more towards these outriggers, being that they're a lot thicker, they can handle a lot more than that heat. So when you're running it down, you can really focus that heat and weave it a lot more towards this piece. So I'll show you more of that when we get to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean the other one up like this and get them painted up with some rattle can, and hopefully we'll move on to getting these things tacked in where we want them. All right, got this one cleaned up and got the ends beveled. As you can tell on the other one, that's obviously straight with a cut. And then there you can see my beveled edges. I could probably bevel them a little bit more, which I probably will, but that's about what you're looking for. And a little bit more the better, being that it's so thick, depending on what kind of welder you got. So I'm okay with that. We'll do the same thing right here to the other one, and we'll be ready to go. All right, got them all ready, prepped and ready. The reason I got the tape down there is that's the surface I've already ground to weld. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint all this as well as the insides, and we'll let them dry and then pull the tape, be able to weld, and then I can go back and just touch up those areas that we didn't tape, or that we did tape and need paint. So go ahead and get these things painted, that way they can get to drying so we can get them in place. Okay, got the first outrigger tacked in place. So we got it nice and centered with the hole. That's hard to see from there, but anyway, we are about 1.5 inches from the bottom edge of the frame rail to the bottom of the outrigger. So I got it tacked in 4 spots for now, just to hold it. And then there's our top plate. So what I'm going to actually do is cut a nice little square out, so when the main hoop sits on there, I can actually weld around it real good. And then I can drill our hole in our plate, separate it, set it back over, and weld it all up over everything. So that's basically the same exact thing we're gonna do for the other side. So we're gonna go ahead and get the other outrigger tacked in and then go from there. All right, getting this thing test fitted. We got our outriggers tacked in, and we kind of wanted to set this main hoop in here first before we did that and get our height set, but we kind of forgot. So right now we got it in, we're working it in from the back, and we got it pretty dang close. And right now we're gonna measure, but I'm thinking about 1 inch cut off each of the bottom of this main hoop, and it should fit right into place. So I'll get back with you when we figure out exactly what we're gonna do and go from there. All right, guys, as you saw in the time lapse, we cut 1 inch off the bottom of this thing, and it got it fitting perfect. So we really like that. We got our seat bar mocked up. As you can tell, it's level. And they say in the instructions, you're supposed to tack in the seat bar before you do any welding down at the bottom. So that'll be on our list to do. So we just wanted to give you a good view. And then the seat bar is supposed to be, what, at shoulder height or no more than 4 inches below, right? And we got ours just a little less. We got ours right in that happy leeway mark. Not that we care too much, but we got it right in there. And it's hidden behind the B pillars really well. Look at that, can't even see it. And then I do have to grind, as you can see there, I got to grind a little bit off that area right there to make this gap come in closer.
Because that main hoop's taper.
Yeah, because that main hoop does taper, as you can see here. It kind of comes in and then tapers down. So that'll probably do it for this cage install episode. This will be number 1. So what you can look forward to in the next one is probably tacking that seat bar in place where we want it with it in there. And then we'll remove the main hoop out of the car, cut our access holes in the floor, and we'll drop this thing back, which will probably mark the outriggers where the hoop lies right now so we can put it back in the same spot. But drop it down in there and be able to weld it and then put our plates on and getting that whole hoop finalized. So that's what you can really look to in episode 2, and maybe even getting the talking about getting those back bars fit as well. So that'll be it for this one, and we'll see you guys in the next one. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And yeah, get ready for part 2. It should be pretty cool.